This is TLV1.
The Tel Aviv Review with Gilad Halpern.
Hello and welcome to the Tel Aviv Review, a program dedicated to the word, to the thought and to debate, brought to you by the Van Leer Jerusalem Institute, which promotes humanistic, democratic and liberal values in the social discourse in Israel. I'm your host Gilad Halpern, and every week I'll be engaging in close encounters of the intellectual kind with writers and scholars, or simply people of ideas, of all types and vocations, who have done something to make our lives a tad more interesting. My guest today is an anthropologist teaching at the Open University. He is the author of a new book entitled Israeliness in No Man's Land, Citizenship in the West Bank of Israel Palestine. It was recently published in English by Peter Lang Academic Research. Dr. Yarden Enav, hello and welcome to the Tel Aviv Review.
Good morning.
So your research, your book focuses on the settlement of Ariel in the heart of the West Bank, that is often flaunted as the darling of the settlement enterprise because it is a very Israeli town. It is relatively big. It has many state institutions like the university where you used to teach and features prominently in your research. And finally, its residents are by and large not die-hard ideologues, but what I would call at some risk, normal Israelis. So when you, as an anthropologist, set out to study the natives, as it were, what were you seeking to achieve? How different are the Arielites from other Israelis?
Well, I wrote a book about the settlers in Ariel, and actually the people that I met were very similar to people in Tel Aviv or other places in Israel. You could even say that Ariel was surprising in its normalcy. You could not tell that you crossed the green line, and this is actually a settlement.
So what were the interests that it provided to you as an anthropologist? If everything is the same, so why not? What is the benefit of studying the people in Ariel as opposed to Tel Aviv or anywhere else in Israel?
I wanted to go to this place that was very little researched. Not many sociologists and anthropologists studied the West Bank. Most of the models and books written about Israeli society and Israeli polity actually ignored the West Bank as if it doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. The West Bank or Judea and Samaria, depends who
you ask.
Yes.
Yeah. Why was it ignored? Because it is a different model of government, after all.
Sure.
I mean, the Israeli law is not enacted in the West Bank. Is that why, or does it go deeper than that?
It is a good question. I'm not sure. To my opinion, I think that Israeli scholars look at it as they try to avoid the questions about occupation, about separation between the Israelis and Palestinians in the West Bank. Therefore, they actually forget that it is part of Israel and it is under Israeli control.
Which has some sort of contradiction in it, because on the one hand, of course, there is the question of the Israeli-Palestinian friction and the occupation that's there. On the other, as you show in your book, it is some sort of an Israeli bubble. It's so easy to ignore the fact that the politics is actually there.
That's true. When Israelis go to the West Bank, especially to Ariel, where you have a highway that takes you straight from Tel Aviv to Ariel, when Israelis go there, they actually do not feel as if they left Israel. There is no sign that says you are leaving Israel, or going into a different political unit or geographical unit. So I called it the geography of avoidance. Mm-hmm. Israelis can live, drive, and live their daily lives in the West Bank without talking to Palestinians, meeting Palestinians, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. What can you tell us about the people who actually live in Ariel? We said earlier that they're not ideologues, they're not really the die-hard settlers that we often see in the news. Who are they?
Well, of course, the population is diverse, and you have Orthodox Jews, but also in Ariel you also have many secular Jews, some of them immigrants from the former Soviet Union. So it's a similar population to that you could meet in every Israeli university.
And the University of Ariel, I mean, part of the reason for its uniqueness is that it's really the only Israeli academic institution in the West Bank that was promoted to a status of a full-fledged university, to much controversy. And the thing about it, that also features in your book, is that it is some sort of an extension of bigger Israel into this small town. The fact that it's actually a settlement is secondary here, but there are tens of thousands of people coming in to Ariel for the university as students, as faculty, as other employees. What does it really do to that particular status that you describe in your book of Ariel as an Israeli bubble in the heart of the West Bank?
Well, Ariel was established in 1978 as a small settlement, and today it's actually a city. Formally, it's a city, Israeli city. It has about 18,000 people living there, and you could call it a settlement town instead of just a settlement.
It's one of the biggest settlements in the West Bank.
Yes. I believe it's, if not the first, so the second one after Ma'ale Adumim. And of course, the university developed the Ariel settlement in many, many ways. Ariel University was established also, in the beginning, it was called the College of Judea and Samaria. It was a small college. Later on, it was called the Academic College of Judea and Samaria. And in 2012, it became a university. Today you have about 14,000 students, Israeli students living there. Many of them live in Ariel.
And they're not local, right? They come from all over the country.
Yes, they come from all over the country. Many of them rent flats in Ariel or live in the dorms. You also have Arab citizens of Israel living there.
Not Palestinians, though.
No.
Arabs coming from Israel.
Yes.
And what is it for them, for these people coming into the West Bank? I'm assuming for many of them it's one of the first times in their lives that they actually cross the green line. Do they even realize that they are in the West Bank?
I asked a few of them. I interviewed some of many students in Ariel University and also Arab students. They are aware, but I think they mostly ignore the political context in which they study. They look at Ariel University as an Israeli university, which is to them a Zionist Israeli university, but in that sense, they do not feel this institute to be different from others because they live in a Zionist state.
So basically what it does, Ariel is perhaps the best example, and the Ariel University is the most effective tool in blurring the green line. That what consecutive Israeli governments sought to do, and that is really make the West Bank part and parcel of Israel, is, according to your research, actually working.
I think that what you said was very true. Ariel University is one of the major elements that blur the green line today, because you have so many Israelis going into the West Bank, into Yehuda v'Shomron, Judea and Samaria, and out of it daily.
Do any of the graduates choose to stay in Ariel and, settle there, find a job there?
That's interesting because I read a research about that. And of course there are some students that decide to stay in the West Bank and live there to become settlers, basically. But it's not a big percentage of the student population.
So most of them go back, as it were, in inverted commas, into Israel.
Yes.
The subtitle of your book is Citizenship in the West Bank. Do you mean the concept of citizenship, of how citizens perceive themselves as citizens in this case?
Yes, I also use another concept in my book, which is Israeliness. And it is also, you can have a few different interpretations for the word Israeliness. It could be Israeli culture, identity, or Israeli political culture, that is nationality. So I deal with all these issues together. Mm-hmm. And I look at citizenship also from a few different angles. As a sort of, when you talk about political identity, citizenship is very similar to nationality. And I try to understand this idea of national or political identity. The book is actually based on my PhD thesis, and this thesis is called Searching for Israeliness. Mm-hmm. And I started this research by searching for an Israeli civic identity or civil identity, what Robert Bellah called civil religion in America. But I did not find it. I mean, I found...
Because it does not exist in the Israeli context?
I could say that from what I saw, it does not exist. Most of Israelis today, at least the ones I met in the West Bank, look at their national and political identity through the Jewish or Zionist prism. So you have today what I call Jewish national identity, but mm-hmm. not an Israeli one.
Mm-hmm. And does the fact that, I mean, the student body at Ariel University for you represents that trend more than other groups of people in the country? I mean, what is it about Ariel that really led you to that realization?
I stayed in Ariel for 2 years. I lived there. So I became myself a settler. And I met many people, I talked to many people, I observed their daily lives and interviewed the students from Ariel University, then it was Ariel College. And this is what the anthropologists do. They observe and describe what they see. Mm. So based on that information, I got to this conclusion.
Right. Did you meet any Palestinians at all? Did you see any Palestinians at all? Or just, far away on the horizon and therefore it was easy to ignore them?
I saw many Palestinians, of course. I did not meet many of them or talk to them because the problem is the language. I do not speak Arabic, and that limited my research. I would be happy if I could speak Arabic and in that way also to talk to Palestinians.
But is it only the language barrier? Had it not been for the language barrier, do the two populations really mix?
Rarely. There is a separation, but in my case, if I knew the language, I would go and try to get the Palestinian point of view also about their life in the Israeli West Bank.
Mm-hmm. So, by way of conclusion, would you say that the existence of Ariel University and the fact that it's been thriving as it has for the past 4 years now, as a university, as a college even more than that, does it make the Israeli withdrawal from Ariel, from the West Bank, any less probable now, any less feasible?
To my opinion, after 2 years of living in the West Bank as a so-called settler, I really see Ariel as a problem to a peaceful solution between Israel and the Palestinians. Because all what we said, it actually not only blurs, maybe even erase the green line.
Mm-hmm. So basically the fact that there's really no more difference between Israel proper and some places in the West Bank, chief among them Ariel, makes it even a conceptual problem.
In what way?
In what way? That it's not just about giving the order or the logistical thing of deciding to withdraw from it. It's just that people, Israelis today, don't really see a difference between Ariel and the rest of Israel.
Yes, first of all, you have about 20,000 people that I cannot imagine how they would leave their homes, their houses in Ariel. And secondly, there is a large group in Israel, in Israeli society, that see this place as part of Israel in many ways.
Mm-hmm. But so do you. Or people who are, I'd say, ideologically opposed to the occupation and the annexation of the West Bank see Ariel today as a very Israeli place, because that's exactly what it is.
Yes.
All right. And that opens up many more questions that will be followed up soon, whether by reality or more research.
Going back to your question about the citizens of Ariel, it was important to me just to mention that I think that they see themselves as not only Israeli, but also as Zionists, the people that live there. Most of the settlers see themselves as Zionists, maybe even as kind of pioneers.
Are there any Israelis or any significant numbers of Israelis who don't see themselves as Zionists?
That's true, but I meant that they see their act of
living there as a manifestation of Zionism, as of pioneering,
a revival of Zionism.
Oh, I see. Okay. Even though they're not that ideological, but they see for them it's the actual the statement that counts. Mm-hmm. Interesting. All right, Dr. Yarden Enav, I'm afraid this is all we have time for today. You're an anthropologist at the Open University and the author of the recently published Israeliness in No Man's Land, Citizenship in the West Bank of Israel, Palestine. Thank you very much for coming in today.
Thank you very much.
And also big thanks to Alex Benish, our trusted sound engineer, and to the Van Leer Institute for the generous support. If you like this podcast, there are many more where it came from. Just go to www.tlv1.fm/podcasts and take your pick.